to Immigration Talk, a space where we hear from an expert on matters related to the immigration industry, law and policy, and practice. I'm Rosalie Van Staldeinen, and joining me is RCIC-IRB Al Parsai. Welcome, Al.
Hi, Rosalie. Thank you very much for the invite.
Pleasure. Al, what do practitioners need to know about procedural fairness letters based on the Nguyen versus Canada case?
Of course. First thing first, we need to know that procedural fairness is an important legal element that defines how decision makers, especially government decision makers, need to interact with the people who are interested in immigration to Canada. If you look at many court cases, especially Baker v. Canada, it defines how procedural fairness is important. As part of procedural fairness, we have some guidelines by the Government of Canada, specifically by IRCC as well, that clearly mentions that the officers need to give a meaningful opportunity to a person who will be adversely decided to be able to respond to the concerns of the officer. Now, when we talk about this, we are looking at specifically extrinsic evidence. If an officer looks into your social media post or compares the documents that you have provided with other sources and they are in doubt that there's something going wrong, you need to send a letter. We call that a procedural fairness letter or a PFL. And within that letter, they need to share their concerns and give you the opportunity to respond to them. Now, in the case that we are talking about, what happens is that this lady, she submitted some documents, and from the point of view of the officer, the employment letters, they were fraudulent. In the opinion of the officer, they were actually falsified and maybe meddled with the help of Photoshop and other tools. They also look into the website of the employer. They couldn't find the information that this person had posted, and the officer was in doubt, and they issued a procedural fairness letter. That's not the problem. The problem is that the officer said that I'm in doubt about your employment. And this lady gets back to the officer and says, no, my employment everything is fine. She also even provides a couple of supporting letters saying that, look at these documents, my employment is right. But actually, the officer was concerned about making changes to the original letter. And they didn't mention that in their PFL. And they refused the application. So the case goes to the federal court in 2025, and the federal court said that, wait a minute, the PFL cannot be this ambiguous letter. And they refer to the term gist. So they say that you need to provide the gist of your concerns about that application, especially when it comes to something so serious as misrepresentation, which results into inadmissibility for 5 years for that person. The gist of concerns doesn't mean that the officer needs to provide all the details regarding their concerns. So they are not supposed to tell you that we got in touch with your bank and this is what they said, or we looked into this document and we compared it with online resources, but they need to at least mention something meaningful. In this case, for example, I looked at your documents and I believe that this document is a fraudulent document. I'm not sure that this document is produced by the employer or the real employer. And if the officers do not do that and they provide a PFL letter, you have now, following this case, you have the right to contact the officer and refer to the court case and mention that based on this court case, what I'm receiving from you is so ambiguous that I don't even know how to respond to it. And the officer is supposed to provide a more detailed PFL, explain what's going on. So what we learned from this is that it gives us a little bit of more of teeth when it comes to dealing with PFLs and expecting the officer to be more detailed and give us the opportunity to understand what their concerns are and respond to them.
Great. Well, a very helpful case precedent. Thank you for taking the time to walk us through some of the implications and considerations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rosalie, for the opportunity. Have a good one.
Let's talk again.